1994.
That almighty amazing. That almighty amazing. That almighty amazing.
Hey yo, I'm out for throats. I smoke these crews more than I smoke dope. And stalking rap shows for cash flows, waiting in shadows. Yo, I got them shook and took by these heavy hooks. They say I need to stay at Bates Motel, well I'm already booked. I've been chilling with Norman, man this shit ain't normal. I'm on some other beating kids in public like a bad mother. Man, I got these bodies stocked up, legs in stockings. Got some heads under the bed, some is fresh and some been rotting. I don't sell my soul, no need to bother. The devil sold his soul to me for 50 G's. I beat his ass and robbed him. Some say he's cuckoo and others spooky. They trying to do the right thing, well I ain't
so
nah, no
that is the intro 1994 off the album 1994 by yours truly, Gabe Thinking.
All right, here we go. All right, 36 Chambers podcast. My name is Alex.
My name is Gabe.
All right, guys. Hope you had a nice holiday. Have a nice Thanksgiving. That, like he said, is off his 1994 album. That is the intro, and old school hip hop sound. It's the bars. The bars are getting good. I like the Bates Motel line. That one really stuck out to me. Already checked in, and off the album, one song, the next one, Blue. That one I like. Like I said, I wanted to listen to it a little more because I really wanted to go a little more in depth, and like everything, I'm just drawing a blank as always. But yeah,
like that one, the whole album's inspired off of songs from the 1990s, you know, for sure. But that one specifically is what started it, and I think Big L's the biggest inspiration for that. The style of the rap, the style of the beat. I made the beat from scratch. All the scratches I did myself. Like everything on that entire project is pretty much from scratch except for a couple songs. So this is the first time I ever produced a hip hop album without samples, without anything except for just the program and some beats. Most of the time I sample.
So is it completely produced from you?
I would say 90% because the second song, Blue, is produced by Major Dynamic.
Okay.
And there's only, I think, 2 songs with samples. Everything else is from scratch.
And how long did this entire project take?
I started it probably actually about February, I'd say. I started, the way I come up with music is it lingers in my subconscious. I come up with the songs and the ideas, and I slowly make the beats in my spare time. Mm-hmm. And I always kind of have an idea how I want the song to go. And then just when I get the chance to record it, I do. So I'd say when I finally got that chance was in February, I started working on it. Okay. And then started finishing it up in the summertime. And then I'm going to release it probably next week.
And one thing, so you're going to release it next week. And one thing that I brought up when we were getting set up is the fact that I've never heard a story song from you, telling a story, using a song to tell a story. And I wanted to ask you, so overall, why do you feel that maybe that is just, what's your opinion on that?
I like storytelling in raps, don't get me wrong. I feel like for me personally, it's just something I don't like to do. I like just punchlines, and I like just writing raps off of something where, I don't know, I get inspiration off of whatever. However, with stories, I don't ever really think about writing a full, story type of song. For me, I feel it's a little corny for my style, but like Today is a good example. Atmosphere, that's an amazing song. And maybe it's just like what we were saying, it can be done so well that maybe I respect the storytelling. Okay. And I don't want to jump into it unless it's going to be done right. But
that's true. There's
that one Piccolo song. It's called the Ultimate Namekian Warrior, like an ode to Piccolo. It's produced by Major Dynamic, and me and Johnny, were in here writing the verses. We both showed him our verse, and he chose mine because he was like, "This is just." It's like it has so much details into who Piccolo is. So I like storytelling, but just maybe not all the time. It's just not my steez. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, I guess Piccolo is a little side note because I can't think of anybody else. Who's the Namekian he fused with before he fused with Kami?
Before Kami? I don't know.
Yeah, there was another one. When he was fighting Frieza, he fused with another Namekian. Mari,
Yeah.
if you're listening, I know you know who it is.
You know, Dynamic would be stabbing me in the face right now because it's like his shit is all Dragon Ball.
Yeah, but okay. Yeah, overall storytelling, I just there's some artists, like I said, Ghostface, Raekwon, they're great storytellers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could tell that
Okay, you ever hear the story of Cream?
No.
They talk about when Cream was written and Raekwon's talking about his verse.
No.
Okay, so in that, when they're actually talking about it, that was when they're gonna put the album out, right? They're like, Enter the 36th, Cream was on it, and then Inspector Deck had his verse, but then I guess when Raekwon wrote his verse, he's like, I'm not gonna say who, but they were like, nah, I ain't about all that corny ass storytelling bullshit. That's not who we are. And I you know, maybe that's part of it too, is like there's something about it. So they told him, Raekwon, or whoever it was told Raekwon, you gotta redo your shit. And so he rewrote it to be a little bit more hood. And it started, I grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side. Lived life was no job at second hand. And
Moms
I feel like
bounced on old man.
So
then we moved to Shaolin Land.
all
Go
of that
ahead.
was like inspired after they told him, don't do it so storytelling. Make it more realistic, more who you are.
Okay.
You know? And that's
true.
dope, you know? I think that's hella dope.
That's true. You know, one thing about the making of 36 Chambers and Cream, we missed out on a lot of Wu-Tang music because apparently their studio flooded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole thing got
And
fucked up. They lost out on everything.
Like almost, yeah, RZA lost almost all of his music.
And you know what? I thought about it. I was like, who knows if that shit was good or not? Because the fact that he lost it inspired him to just work harder to get that sound back. Whether or not he achieved it, listen to what came from it. So I guarantee you the work he put in afterward was more dedicated, was harder, and was just more well, thought out.
Yeah. The pressure of trying to get that sound back, thinking, one story that I also remember is RZA talking about when Protect Your Neck came on the radio. He said Raekwon said like 5'5". I never knew Raekwon was that short.
He's tiny.
But his head hit the roof when they heard it on the radio that it came on, and I mean everybody just blew up in excitement that it had hit the radio. And yeah, I mean,
have you ever heard people talk about Staten Island? Like, Dave Chappelle even said it in recently one of his stand-ups. Like, Staten Island sucks ass. Everything sucks in Staten Island except for Wu-Tang Clan. Because he's just like, except for the Wu-Tang. But I think what his point was is not much comes out of it. It's just a place where you don't see many people, striving. And then all of a sudden, Wu-Tang becomes one of the biggest sensations ever.
And then it just gets popular.
It's like, holy shit.
Especially in hip-hop.
I couldn't imagine how that must feel coming from a place with not only like nobody gets noticed, but now we've reached super fame.
I get one phrase that I remember somebody talking about Staten Island. It's the ugly duckling of all the 5 boroughs.
And it's never mentioned. That they mentioned that a lot in the Wu-Tang Saga, that they were so mad that like they never mentioned Staten Island when it comes to any of New York, and that kind of pissed them off. Yeah,
that everybody mentions Harlem and the Bronx. Like Harlem gets a lot of love. The Bronx, of course, Brooklyn, Queens.
You reminded me though, my friend Ricky, Rick Smooth from the Woe, he met Raekwon one time. Like, he doesn't like to talk about it because it was, let's just say it was around they were buying some stuff, and Raekwon was there, and he was with the people that were selling it, and he met him that day. But he was like, "Yo, that fool's short." He was like, he's hella hood, but he's short. Like, you don't think of him that little until you see him.
I never thought about him being that short.
That's hilarious, right?
I remember when we were painting that Raekwon painting.
Yeah. That's probably how tall he was. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was thinking.
This little tiny Raekwon on the wall. Like, that's probably his height right there.
Dude.
That was, you reminded me, that's an old painting, right? Mm-hmm. Do you still remember what that looks like in your head?
Yeah.
How dope it was, all
and
that, right?
And I remember the John Cena.
Yeah, the John Cena we painted on the wall. So songs, to me, like from making music to painting and all that, it's kind of similar where like There was a night when me, Jay, Pancakes, you know Pancakes? Jose
I
Pancakes?
think
Yeah, okay.
so, yeah.
So he makes, just it's back when he was doing loop pedals. So he was making all his music on his own, and we were freestyling at this event. Me, Jay, Frankie, the whole crew. And then next thing you know, just the way Jay started freestyling was just like, I got a lot of ends, I got a lot of friends, and like it still stands out to me to this day, like as if it was a song we made. Like I can't explain it, but it's there, and it reminds me of like when you think of artwork you used to do or something, and you can still see that shit in your head.
I remember that we got paid off that painting, and I didn't expect it. I remember.
Well, you never wanted to get paid. I don't know why. Like now that I've been making more money off of art, I feel like you could have been making bank off your art, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. It just felt weird because I just did it for wanting to paint, and that's weird because I never even thought. And then the guy he gave us $100, and I love the Raekwon painting, but like I really never would have placed $100 on it, and he gave us some weed too.
Yeah, you know who that was, right? That's Hack. He's the producer and the founder of Kids with Guns, which is where Huck comes from.
Oh, really? Look at that, man.
Yeah, full circle. I told you, bro.
And was that their studio?
That was their studio on the east side.
Wow.
He just got it and he used the shed. He built it into a studio. And for those who know Kids with Guns, cool facts, bro. Like I remember that he had the east side studio, but we helped paint that, me and Alex, and they moved out of there. He still records music, and I know Toxic is making music, and I can't think of his name right now, but it's X Music. Check him out. Toxic Music. That's all Kids with Guns.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool, yeah.
And J89, everybody go check out J89, bro. He's so fire. If just on your own time, check out J89 because his producing skills are unreal. And he's living like in Arizona right now, but that's who produced Huck's last album. So
yeah, one thing I wanted to ask you is, did you start off producing or did you start off rapping?
No, I started. I was always embarrassed to rap. I think growing up, especially since I learned to make beats from Jeff Martinez, a good friend of mine on Fruity Loops.
Jeff.
Yeah, Fruity Loops is where I started, which is where most producers kind of start. And then first time I go down to rap in his studio, bro, they all laughed. Like, they didn't laugh at me that day. It was one of those they laughed later. And I remember my first line, colossal expansion of the brightest light, shining through hip-hop on the darkest night. And it's like hella corny and cheesy, but like for who I am, I can see where I was going. I was only 16.
Yeah.
And all I got were MySpace messages of colossal expansion of the brightest light, and they were making fun of me, and I was like, yeah, I'm never taking this shit serious again.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I think that when you begin rapping or when you try to rap, I think automatically, since you've never even written a verse, thought about a verse, it automatically becomes like a very elaborate, like it becomes more than it has to be.
Yeah.
Because it's the first one and you really put a lot of thought into it.
Like I wrote that song for you a long time ago, this Metamorphic Man or Metamorphosis Man, something like that. And I don't remember, but it had to do with your life, but it was just too much going into it. And now I could probably do that a lot better, But
yeah. And you could tell.
That's something you just brought up about I don't even know, but
so I just wanted to bring up again how we were talking about how Joe Rogan mentioned Gangstar.
Yeah.
And we were talking about Tom Green.
Yeah. And
how he originally, I forgot that Tom Green was into hip hop.
Yeah. Because think about it was like in the 90s when he came out, I think everybody was into hip hop in some way. Because you had to like tight shit. There wasn't that much whack stuff out, Like you had to be really weird, like some whack stuff. Like
and ooh man, no, and I never really thought about Tom Green as a hip hop head, and then even less Joe, how he brought up Gangstar and said he loves Premier and he loves Guru, and then I think about not just well, first of all, when you think about how Tom Green, like, when it comes to a podcast, how he basically originated the first podcast.
Yeah.
His show,
Yeah.
it really wasn't a radio show.
You know, it's a Tom Green show.
It was a Tom Green show, and I don't really picture it as much as a TV show, radio show. I picture it more of a podcast platform.
It's weird how all this got real popular overnight. You know, like everybody's used to. I don't know. I heard a lot of people talking about podcasts over the years, but then out of nowhere, everybody starts talking
it just
about it.
blew
And there's
up,
a different one,
man.
and maybe Joe Rogan popularized it
He's
a lot
one of 'em.
because
Yeah.
a lot of people started talking about it more after they said, "You listen to Joe Rogan podcast?"
The Joe
and
Rogan
the quarantine,
podcast.
just people sitting at home doing
Yeah.
jack shit with their lives, which they usually do anyways, but they have to go to work. And then now they're like, well, let me listen to some fools talk about some stuff, and hey, this is actually kind of interesting. Like,
Yeah, Adam Carolla, he was one of the first ones. People call him the godfather of podcasting because
I mean, Howard Stern was one.
Howard Stern.
Everybody has at least listened, seen, or just heard about a Howard Stern
Opie and
show.
Anthony, but those were radio shows.
Yeah.
And how podcasters, the first podcasters based their entire how would I say but their structure
Yeah.
off of most popular is Howard Stern and then Opie and Anthony, which those two had a feud. And
Now tell me about that new one you were telling me about, the Jake and Paul one, right? The dude that just boxed.
Yeah.
What's it called? Impulsive?
So it's Logan Paul, Jake Paul's brother,
okay.
and his friend Mike Malak. They have and George Janko. They have a podcast called Impulsive. You know, the weakest plug here that we're giving them.
And did you see the fight though?
Yeah.
Just this weekend. Did you? I'm sorry. I'm thinking. I know we talked about it earlier, but. What the hell? His name is Nate Robinson, right?
Nate Robinson,
what
basketball
the hell is he
player,
doing in
dabbling
there?
in boxing.
Boxing, bro. Like, he looked so sloppy in there. Jake Paul didn't look. He did not look good at all. He was sloppy too, throwing these MMA overhand rights looking ass like he's gonna knock someone out, and then he did, and I'm like, what the hell is going on, bro?
Exactly.
And then you know what I actually think was the best thing about the entire night? Snoop Dogg being
His
on the
commentary,
freaking commentary, bro.
His
he was
commentary
so funny.
was amazing. When they
And
knock out Nate.
Adesanya cursed like 10 times.
Yeah, I didn't even recognize him because I didn't know that they were going to be the ones commentating, and
The fuck?
I didn't recognize Adesanya. Immediately you recognize Snoop, and I remember when Nate got knocked out, and one of the other commentators, I don't know who it was, he is all like, Nate Robinson is down for the count, and then Snoop Dogg was like, nah, Nate's all right, he from the hood, he gonna get up and dust off.
I can't, bro. He's too funny. Like, I was cracking up the whole fight during the Tyson fight and everything. But yeah,
I didn't watch the Tyson fight.
You didn't watch the Tyson fight?
No, I just watched the.
I'm not
going to
get into it because there's so many things to be said. But it's exactly what I expected, and I usually just I don't know. I see things the way it's gonna be, and it's not that exciting. He's gonna hug him the whole time because he knows Mike Tyson's strength, and to be honest.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of people said that Mike Tyson didn't get as tired as they thought he was going to get.
Hell no, bro. He was in there like swinging the whole freaking time. I could not believe it. And Roy Jones was doing exactly what I thought he would do. It's how he used to fight. It's like he hits and runs, but he can hit hard and knock out too. But it was just a good sparring match, and he's too quick for Mike to hold him, and then he's got technique. He would clinch him, and there's nothing that Mike could do, and it got frustrating. But I don't know who was expecting more or a knockout. I did not expect anything like that.
Yeah, the one thing that everybody was talking about prior to the fight were the rules, because there wasn't going to be any judging. It's just going to be a exhibition where nobody wins at the end of the fight. They're going to be 2-minute rounds. Normally it's a 3-minute round. This time it's going to be a 2-minute round. And if you get cut, the fight is over. Yeah. Which everybody was saying, like, cuts are a really strong possibility, not necessarily from punches, but from headbutts as well.
Yeah, and because they're 50.
And because they're 50.
Yeah, come on, bro. It's going to happen. But they headbutted twice.
Okay.
2 big times that I saw. And, but no cuts. I mean, the fight was chill. It was an exhibition. It's exactly what it was. You know, it was a fun fight. And just to see Mike Tyson throw some blows again was really cool. Especially being from the era where you saw Mike Tyson knock people the fuck out. That was cool. Yeah. I'm happy I didn't have to hear Max Kellerman, because I don't like Max Kellerman, but I brought it up earlier. He's a huge Ghostface fan. Yeah, and there's an interview with him and Action Bronson, and that's when Action Bronson disses Ghostface, and that's what started their whole little feud right there. But that was a Max Kellerman interview, and he talks about his album with Adrian Young, and I was like, whoa, how does Max Kellerman know this much about Ghostface? Like, so he's a huge fan. However, I just can't stand his, I don't know,
His
just
commentary?
the bullshit he says. Yeah, it's like he always puts a boxer down. He always has something to be like, I don't know. He talks about something that has nothing to do with the fight sometimes, like their lives, their careers, what they've gone through in the media.
He's always got something to say, huh?
And we're sitting here watching a fight, and it's like, shut up, bro. Like, just whatever happened to the old fights when, like, all right, here we coming in. Oh, we got a jab. There, hit him hard. He's backing in the corner, swing, swing, swing. On he ducks, pop, pop, pop. Like, I don't know. I wish I would hear some old commentary like that, and it's just people talking about the fight. You know?
Yeah. That really goes to show you a lot how the old HBO commentary with Jim Lampley was just amazing, man.
Me, yes and no. I liked it more when it was older than that. You know, I can't think of names, but if you listen to Roy Jones commentate on a fight,
Roy Jones,
he does a great job.
He does an amazing job.
Because he talks about the fight. He's like, he's coming in strong. You can see him. He's got his confidence. He's bringing it down. What he need to do is he starts moving around that jab, moving around you. And he's like, well, he's not doing this. He's not keeping up that left hand. And it's kind of like, yes, that's all relevant right now. That has everything to do with what we're watching right now. Thank you, Roy Jones, for being smart in there. And then here comes Max Kellerman. You know, his color trunks sometimes are not the most popular decision in the media. And it's like, shut the fuck up, bro. We're talking about a fight right now.
Or a tweet that the fighter made earlier that night.
Just something, it just has nothing to do with anything. But like you were saying, maybe that's just what his job is. That's what they brought him in there, was to be the one who's always...
It seems like that. It seems like at the beginning when he was barely becoming popular, that's how he was, like, naturally. And then they just told him to be that more.
Yeah. All right, so I wanted to ask you, though, since watching it, what did you think about Canibus and Disaster?
Oh my God, poor Canibus,
bro!
Man.
Is that not the best? Did you end up watching more of it, or just the one I sent you?
I watched a little more. I went to the full video, but I couldn't watch the full video. It's bad, just right? So cringe, man. I feel so sorry for him. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Anybody who hasn't watched Canibus versus Disaster freestyle, go watch it. Canibus versus Disaster, and it's iconic, bro, for the fact that when people try to challenge like the freestyle world, they're gonna get smashed. But then the fact that he just gave up on camera
and
in front of his boys,
book out,
and then you can see in the video all of his crew and just behind him, like, damn, they even got like, they're biting their lips, they're looking around, like, this is hella cringing right now, bro.
It was bad. I mean,
Disaster's not even
felt
that good.
like I felt like I had to disown Canibus if I was his father or if I was his brother. I felt like Canibus just had to go away for a while. Like, I know his career even before that was not in the best spot, but he just didn't have to do that. I don't even know if the bag he got was as big.
You win.
Exactly.
But I still want to spit my shit.
Exactly.
And, I mean, in the real video, it's so bad because the announcers keep coming on. Hey, you guys, keep it down. Stop with the booing. That's disrespectful. And then next thing you know, you hear boo, and he's just like, hey, can I spit my shit? And the way they edited in that one with the sad music, and then he just keeps saying,
that was perfect.
So you want to hear it? All right, I ain't gonna spit it if you want to hear my shit. And then Disaster just sitting there with that face on, and then he goes, yo! And it's just so bad. Disaster gets made fun of so much in the freestyle world, bro. He is somewhat of a joke. So it's like, to get smashed by him.
That's what I was thinking, man. You could tell immediately that the guy he was up against, Disaster, he's not the best. And to, get beat by Disaster is just even worse, man. And, when you think of Canibus prior to that, I mean, he's really respected in the hip-hop community. And even the hip-hop community was just so disappointed. And that's the word.
When everybody else looks... Because you're fans, bro. That's especially in his world, that's all that makes him, is his fans.
Is his fans.
There's no publicity. There's nothing for him. It's just people buying his music. And...
man,
done.
Dude.
Good. Done.
just
But-
wearing the same glasses he's had since he started.
And then he's got an
in
arm
a-
sling. He's got a broken arm the whole time, bro. It's so bad. And then it makes all right. So did you watch any of those 7 weird moments in hip or in battle rap after that?
I
Did I
don't
send you that?
remember.
So there's this other compilation that they got on YouTube of like 7 awkward moments in battle rap, 6 weird moments that happened in battle rap. Because in battle rap, it's so serious, right? Like talking about all this shit and they gonna kill you and beat the shit out of your moms and blah, blah. But then there's so many moments where it's just like random shit going on. And there's that one that I sent you with E. Ness and B Magic. And I don't really like Enes that much, but the way he does his whole first round is dope. But then that dude in the back, the hype man, just keeps going, damn. It's just too funny. And then B Magic is just too fire.
Yeah,
I raised the arm, and that shit is not to make a toast.
Yeah, that was a good
Bro.
one. That was a good one. And
You see the steel, I rise like Maya Angelou. B Magic.
Yeah.
I don't care. I will say it every single time. Is the best rapper right now, for sure.
overall, like
over
even the mainstream
I can't-
rappers and all that.
Nah, because there's another John the Don even talks about it. He's a freestyle rapper, and he has this whole thing against. Oh, they say freestylers can't make good music, and he's like, well, I bet you I can. But he makes a good point. He does say when freestyle rappers go into the mainstream, they try to make something called a club hit or something that's like dance music, to get people to be into it. And then they get all this criticism for making something that's not like lyrical. So, or they'll go in there putting out something super lyrical and everyone will criticize them saying that it's not a good song. It's not something you can't dance to. And so I feel like they're just 2 different categories. B Magic is not a good music artist. He is a good freestyle rapper. He's made for punchlines. He's made for acapella
He's
rhyming.
a good MC.
Good at just rhymes, period.
Okay.
But you put him on a beat, it doesn't sound bad. It's just something I really, I'd rather go listen to something like, what I've been listening to? Toby Lou.
Never heard of him.
Bruh, that's the dude I was playing in the car.
Okay.
He's got that. It just came out 2019, Live on Ice, this album. It's on Spotify. Bruh. He's
Live
like
on
Amine.
Ice, huh?
Like Amine is a good example. He's got some clever rhymes. He's not a good like lyrical MC, but dude, he's dope enough that I want to listen to him. Like Lil Wayne is a good example. Not the most lyrical, but he's got good music to where I'd rather listen to that sometimes. It depends on the mood you're in. But Toby Lou is fire, bro. Go check him out.
Do you think the lyrical will ever come back?
I think it's already here. Honestly,
Think
I've
so?
been thinking about it more and more. It's just there's so many musical platforms now that you can find whatever you want, wherever you want, however you want. It's just the way
I think you're right.
The way we used to listen to music was everybody talked about it, and somebody around you was dope enough to be like, check this shit out.
Okay.
But you didn't like go on Spotify, you didn't go on the internet and go searching for artists. It didn't really happen the same way it does now. Now you just play some shit and they just suggest artists that sound like that. Suggest more artists.
Yeah.
And you don't really have to dig for it.
Yeah, because when I think about like who's look at me. Well, of course Big Sean is lyrical. He's got good lyrics.
I think so. Definitely.
Who's the other one? The song A Lot, 21 Savage, A Lot.
I don't like 21 Savage.
I know, but the guy who's featured in that.
Oh, I don't know.
Dreamville.
Is that his name?
No.
He's
Look
off
at
of
me.
Dreamville?
Look at me. I'm just doing a terrible job. Of course, Kendrick is lyrical.
Dreamville's the collaborative album, right? With everybody on it. Yeah. Isn't that the
Is
one where
it?
it had all the artists on it that everybody was making J. Cole put together?
J. Cole, that's who I'm talking about. Look at me. God.
Damn, bro. You can
That's
remember J. Cole?
Bad, man.
That's
That's
bad.
bad, man.
And you ain't even smoking weed.
No, man. I need to eat more carrots or something.
I need to eat more carrots. Okay.
Well, they say carrots are good for your memory.
Oh,
or is it your
Lord.
eyesight? I think it's
It's
your eyesight.
homie. All right. Man, what
But-
about it, though? Homeboy,
What-
it's on that with J. Cole.
What I was going to say is, what's funny is that when we first met, you were into New York hip hop,
Just
Tribe Called
pretty much
Quest.
strictly, East Coast shit.
And I was into New York hip hop, but a different part because I gave you Nas to listen to.
Yeah, I wasn't
gave
as
you
into Nas. you're
Biggie
right.
to listen
Wasn't
to.
as into Biggie.
Yeah, which is crazy. Big L.
I mean, like I listened to him. I like Big L.
Yeah,
I did like Big L.
Okay, Mobb
There
Deep.
was- I still to this day, it's not. I don't like Mobb Deep. I just
No.
I'm not gonna play him.
Yeah, but I remember giving you the Nas Stillmatic. I should have given you Illmatic, but
no,
I was
that's
so
right. You
into
did give me
Stillmatic
Stillmatic, and I'm to this day thinking, why didn't you give me Illmatic? Because when we
I was
finally
into
played
Stillmatic at the time.
Yeah,
that was it,
that makes
man.
sense.
I was into Stillmatic.
he was
at
in
the
a different
time.
place at that time, though. Illmatic, man, his energy is too fire. Nobody can touch
Man,
Nas on Illmatic.
yeah.
I don't care, bro. That's
And-
that 1994 raw.
Exactly.
Ass
There
hip-hop,
you
bro.
go, man. And I actually
Murders
remember when I
everything.
played the first Illmatic song that I played was Memory Lane, and you were like, "What is this? Who is this?"
I still remember it.
Dude, you know he has the orchestra.
You know where I actually heard it first? Sorry, I don't know what you're gonna say. My bad.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I actually heard it on the Whackness. Remember the
Oh, yeah,
Whackness?
yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
and it's based on 1994.
Exactly,
Right when Biggie
1994.
was dropping, and it was just like, it's just such a powerful time. But they play freaking "The World Is Yours" on the subway
Yeah.
when
Mhm.
Josh Peck's sitting on that subway train, and anybody who knows that scene, it's just "The World Is Yours." He's got his headphones on. It's so fire, bro. But no, and then you
Man.
showed me the album, and I'm like, man, how come more music like this doesn't exist? And I realized, oh, well, it was made back fucking then. Like,
Yeah,
it was
man.
fire.
And that's crazy. If I would have known like your hip hop perspective, I would have definitely given you Illmatic. I should have given you Ready to
No,
Die too.
Honestly, I think I wasn't ready for some of the stuff he gave me. Like, I still mention Lil Wayne, and Drake is a good example. Early Drake, when he was on like freestyle Drake,
Yeah.
and he was only on Lil Wayne's mixtapes
Yeah.
and stuff. Like, I never thought I'd be into any music like that, and that's so much of music nowadays.
Yeah.
you know. So I'm glad that you introduced me to a lot of it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you introduced me to Wu-Tang. Man, I didn't even know anything about the Wu-Tang, man. And then you tell me about Tribe Called Quest, and then Gangstar when I heard Above the Clouds for the first time.
Above the Clouds is still like
I mean,
fire,
man, dude.
bro. I was doing more research on Czarface. So 7L and Esoteric, they're two, whatever. They got together to do the project, and Inspected Deck brought in all the Wu-Tang that came and did Czarface. And most of the interviews and all the things you see, they're not even together. I don't even think 7L, Esoteric, and Inspected Deck ever even meet in the same room. to
Yeah, that
record.
happens a lot nowadays.
You know, nowadays, yeah, no one even knows each
they
other.
just
They
send
just
each other the
record.
beat, their verse,
Yeah.
and then you build off it.
What's weird to me is I've only made a few songs like that where people have sent me the verse, and I've used that verse. And Huck is an example, because it's hard to get him in the studio.
Yeah.
And even when I got him here, his verse that he sent me was better. So, anyways, like, point being is I feel like some of that collaborative energy from local artists is kind of gone, because everyone can send each other stuff and we can work that way, but we don't know each other and we don't vibe.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just the energy of Vegas. We got to really know each other. And like, I was thinking about it. Most people in Vegas, they usually only collaborate with their closest friends, whether or not they're like, this is a great artist in town and there's another great artist in town. If they don't know each other or their people don't click, they usually don't collaborate in any way, like how you see LA artists or New York artists, like, who don't know each other very well. Here,
Yeah.
I feel like you gotta really know each other to like
Okay.
really work on stuff, you know?
That's interesting. You know, I think about sending somebody your music and having them do the verse, or somebody sending you their verse so you can put it on. And I think about, okay, so what will make it a better song? And I guess it just depends, because like if that rapper is more of a introvert, or he's antisocial, and maybe he doesn't really like being in a group setting or a social setting, and maybe he works better alone, he'll sit in the
Yeah.
room and really think on his verse and go over your beat and your verse and what he can add to it, and then he send it to you and it's fire. Or maybe the energy of the room, of being in the room with the people and making the song together, building off each other's energy, that usually makes a really good song too. So, you know, it really depends. And I mean,
Everyone's a little different. Like, I mean, because I've noticed with all the different artists I work with, Jay is one that he likes being here in the studio, with the beat being made, all of that. And that's his way of making a good verse.
okay.
For me, I like writing when I get good inspiration, and taking those verses with me,
Okay.
like whenever I'm around others, or if I'd be around another producer or something, and like put it to one of their songs and just see how it sounds. And like a good example is Major Dynamic. We've worked with a lot of producers. We worked with a lot of different people in town. Out of everybody we worked with, Major Dynamic has hung out with us and chilled with us most and kicked it with us most. And Cecil is another one. And I think it's because we're good friends and we actually get along, you know? And that's part of the reason why we work together. But a lot of the other artists that we don't really click, we never really made more than one song that never really went anywhere. And
Yeah.
it had a lot to do with it. But that's how we would do it. We usually have something ready to go. We show up to his house, put it down. I remember the first time meeting him, it was kind of funny. Like, he sees big-ass Jay, 6'8" black dude getting out of the car. Me getting out of my car with long hair and like a camo jacket.
Oh, you had long
on.
hair back then, yeah.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. And he just like, he'd never met us or nothing. So it's just this like, I think he was a teenager, like, or 19, and he was just this timid Mexican dude, and he was just like, so yeah, you guys are Vegas natives? We're like, yeah, what's up, bro? Let's make some tracks. He's like, nah, we're not gonna go inside. And he like trying to feel us out at first. Like, you could tell he was kind of weirded out, but time after time, he just kind of got like more comfortable. And
This
I
is
think
Major Dynamic?
I think he realized we were cool. But the first time we met, I think he was kind of intimidated because it's just like we were so ready to go in his house, like, and record music like we would with anybody. But he didn't. He probably had to feel us out. And then his, it's not his house; it's his mom's house. It's kind of been like, I can't just be letting people upstairs.
That's true.
But I don't
Okay.
know. That shit was hella funny the first time, though.
You know what I was gonna say? Going back to the Illmatic album, one thing that I forgot to say, but another thing is that green jacket that you had when you had long hair, the military jacket. That was a nice jacket.
That's the one I got right here, bro.
That's the one you got on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you've had that jacket for a while,
Love that
man.
jacket. I'm super dry.
So one thing that made Illmatic really popular even before it dropped, anticipated, was that back then when an album was made, it was basically the artist and whoever the DJ or producer was of that, like Guru, Premier, Fresh Prince, and
DJ Jazz Jeff.
Jazzy Jeff. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I know I was gonna think about ain't nothing but sweat inside my. Exactly. Who's that one? Tell me. So I dig into my pocket, come up with lint, so I keep digging.
What's going on?
Who's that rapper?
I can't think of. I don't know.
Nah.
No.
Okay. All right. So the thing that made Nas's album really anticipated is that it was basically all the big producers at that time. It was Premier.
Yeah.
It was Q-Tip from Tribe Called Quest. It was
Basically like an original, like what a mixtape is.
You think so?
I mean, I wouldn't say what it is, but some of it is usually comprised of like it could be beats that have already been made, or some of them are just from the hottest producers that are out, and they paid producers and they got some beats from them, and then they come out and they drop their shit, and then it's like, oh, they got a song by Chuck English, what the fuck, like. But it's like they just, they're putting together a mixtape because they're not a signed artist, so it's not technically an album.
Yeah, okay. And it was Large Professor and every, like, he got a lot of like hate for that because they were almost saying like he was like cheating. Like, you've got the industry's best producers at the time. It's almost like they expected it to be a good album.
I mean, it should be. It should be about the best of the best together. And I realize that's what we got nowadays. If you notice, some of the best music comes out from like TDE because they take the top musicians that are out in the industry. They took Thundercat. Anybody knows who Thundercat is? He's a bassist. And the only reason I know Thundercat is because he comes from the era of like that 2008, 2012 Flying Lotus, freaking dope, like underground electronic hip hop scene where Gaslamp and Adrian Young come from. And all of that, Thundercat was around at that.
Low End Theory.
Exactly. So listening to a Low End Theory podcast with like Thundercat on it, and the next thing you know, he's a hot ass sensation for TDE, putting down bass tracks for Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar is one of the only people who's gonna be like, yo, put that motherfucker on the bass. He's dope. Instead of this like competitive ego shit where we have the best, they have the best. Like,
yeah, okay.
no, it's like he brought the best in. He got Adrian Young, and anybody who doesn't know this, by the way, this is what you should know. Untitled Unmastered, the Kendrick Lamar album, there's track number 4, track number 5. I don't care which track it is. It's CeeLo Green, Kendrick Lamar, Ali Shaheed Muhammad from Tribe Called Quest, and Adrian Young. The first time those 4 were collaborative on a track. Now, what people don't know is currently Adrian Young and Ali Shaheed Muhammad have been on tour and been doing albums and a whole movement called Jazz is Dead. Because they're 2 jazz musicians that are creating dope music, that creating hip-hop behind the scenes that nobody really knows is getting made. And it all started on a collaborative song with Kendrick Lamar.
Wow.
And people don't know that shit. And who's behind the scenes on that? Ali, who's his producer and his recording engineer for Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
And I only know a lot of that stuff just because I pay attention to all of those fucking artists on my own. And then I found out all of that from just one song.
Yeah, you know, collaborating, I think it's almost like it's part of like the industry package right now. Back then, I guess collaborating, you know, it wasn't really that big, you know. If I really think about albums of people, you know, features weren't really, you know, that big. And like a DMX album mostly just had all of DMX. A Snoop Dogg album just had all of Snoop Dogg. Well, I know Dre's Chronic.
Well, I mean, yeah,
Snoop
look at
Dogg,
that collaboration, Snoop Dogg and Dre. Like, that's some of the biggest things have come from 2 of the biggest artists in the industry at the time.
Yeah,
and that's what it's all about to me, to be honest.
You know, I guess going on further about a hip hop like a MC package, like an image package today. Back then, like you weren't necessarily gonna have merch. You know, you weren't necessarily like. I guess today there's like this whole package that you have, like get a social media profile, create a platform, then when you get big, you know, make some merchandise, get some merch, get your website, that.
When we were doing it, like Vegas Natives, when we were getting shows and stuff, the first thing was just word of mouth. You know somebody, they'll set you up with a show, but you don't get paid for those shows. Those are something where almost like you got to pay because you got to get people in the door. Then when you start getting smart to that, you find a promoter or something where they help you with ticket sales. Yeah. Then if you want to go bigger, you need something called an EPK, an electronic press kit, which is something that has all of your collaborative social media pictures, videos into one giant, like sendable press kit. So that way nobody has to go search for your shit. Yeah. And then there's now the profile where you need a social media account. You might need a certain amount of followers. There's so many different parameters, but still to this day to play a show or something like that is simple as getting somebody to, you know, put you on as a show and say that you can make this amount of money, promote the show, sell the tickets, and that's about it. Yeah, I could see that. And I could see that as an MC when you get bigger, doing things like collaborating with other rappers, simply just to keep your name out there, you know, simply for to keep your image out there, you know, because now relevant. and to grow nowadays, a lot of it is for to grow your fan base. Like I'm gonna go collaborate with that rapper because now his fans are gonna know about me. I mean, I don't know. I feel like yes and no. It just depends. You know, like Chance the Rapper is a good example. If on his acid tape or acid rap mixtape, do you know how any of that came about to be made? Dude, there's this dope interview with his manager that I forget his manager's name. I think it's like John or something. It's this white dude who's got like blondish red hair, beard, and he wears like Birkenstock sandals. Totally just a hippie looking dude from nowadays, right? But he explains how he became a manager. He's not in the industry. He just straight up said, well, I want to be around dope musicians and dope artists, so I went and I told him, how about I get you guys a bunch of waters? How about I get you guys a bunch of food before the show? How about I get you a bunch of this? Next thing you know, I realize I'm becoming a manager for these people because I'm getting them all the things that they need for each show. He's like, and so that's kind of what he did for different artists. And then he finds Chance, and Chance was just on fire with just how inspiring Chance is as a person. He just goes about doing whatever he wants to do at full-fledged energy. And so he got Chance an apartment, hooked him up with a computer and a studio, started buying him merch, got him all hooked up with all of that, and he just started making money out of this, or making music out of this apartment. And the Acid Rap mixtape came from, I think, Peter Cottontail, another producer in Chicago, who just gave him a mixtape and said, hey, check out these dope beats I was making. And he said, yo, I'm going to put some raps on these. And then he got all the other artists like Twista.
I love Twista.
He got freaking everybody who's on the Acid Rap
Fucking
mixtape.
Twista?
Yeah. So that's like the first thing that came to mind, because that's like, where the hell did he get that? But he has so much collaboration on that album. And it's all because his manager bought him an apartment, bought him a studio, put out his merch. And to this day, Chance has won Grammys, and he's an independent artist.
Man.
All because somebody was also an independent manager and took a chance on him. No pun intended, Chance. But that's kind of how that happened, and that's from a collaborative effort of two people at the top of their game where they were.
Okay, so let's go off that a little bit.
Yeah.
The manager, the idea of the manager or an agent or somebody who's simply responsible for putting you out there more. A lot of people, because I think about managers in the UFC, for example, they don't really need any credentials to manage somebody.
No,
like
not at all.
when a
all you need, to be honest, you just need connections. That's all you need.
I want to talk about the pros and cons about managing somebody or you picking a manager, because, for instance, in the NFL, the NBA, more specifically the NFL, an agent or a manager, for you to be an agent or a manager to somebody, you need to have a degree. You need to have you need to have a foundation or experience of managing or being an agent to somebody for you to have.
Is that a requirement? Is that like an absolute, like, if you can't be a manager unless you have this degree?
I believe it is. I forgot who was talking about it. I think it was one of the.
I don't know shit about sports management, but it seems like it, because it's a bigger field and
there's
a
lot of
industry.
more money and
no, don't get me wrong. There's business
players.
music management. I took 2 business music management courses in college, and you can graduate with a degree of that, but you don't need that. You're right, to be a manager.
Exactly, and that's where I'm going with it, because okay, if you don't need that and you've never done it, that doesn't mean you're going to be bad at it. Like, for instance, there's one of the biggest managers in the UFC, Ali. I forgot his last name, but everybody calls him Ali. He manages Khabib. He manages anyways, but he didn't go to school for it, and he's big, and he just started managing one fighter, then managed another, then managed another. And I mean, his background, dude, he was like considered a terrorist. He was on the CIA watch. He was on the CIA watch list. People thought he was behind helping for 9/11. You could see videos of him with like his I don't want to say like his Middle Eastern outfit, but like with guns and all this. And now he's a manager for some of the biggest UFC, when there's like files on him as being a terrorist. And that's my point, is that, you know, the idea of a manager.
He's got connections, See, I mean, that's the industry he's in, though. He's in fighting, though. That's something where I don't necessarily know if you have to have a degree.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, it just falls down to the artist picking you as their manager. Like in Entourage, in the movie, in the show Entourage, you know, the main character picks his best friend to be his manager.
That's what I'm saying. He's negotiating for him. Like, a manager is exactly what it says, at least in the music industry. You manage the career. You are in charge of which direction they go. So that's why choosing the right manager is important, because I honestly I think everyone should get a manager if they're serious about their career in any way, from art to music. Because think about it. You want to focus on the creative content. You want, like, where I'm at now is I have to do both. I want to focus on drawing. I want to focus on the art, creating books, creating comics, creating the storylines to be dope. how the fuck am I going to get time to go and figure out how to put my stuff in the right stores, to get distributors, to actually get signed, like from books and publishers? That's a whole other side of an industry, but I have to sacrifice my time for both, which takes away from my creative side. So any artist who's serious about their craft needs to have someone who's managing their time and their energy.
That's a tough one, bro.
Because
I have the other opinion. I say you don't need a manager. I say you don't need an agent. Like me, that's part of my job of, I could push myself. Why? Who knows me better than me?
You can push yourself, but that's the thing is maybe there's somebody who has more connections that have the same insight and same passion you do for your career, but they have a better insight and better knowledge of how to get you there. You have a better insight on how to do your artwork and creatively create something. But they might have the same passion, but they know the people, they know the industry, and they can work just as hard as you do to get you just as far as you want to be. And that's where I feel like you can make more money, and you could eventually become more passionate about where you're going, because you can focus on yourself.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Because I understand the promotion, the insight and everything, but for instance, let's say if I have a following, those are my fans. I already have my fans. I can communicate directly to my fans.
Yeah, but what if you don't have the fans? Let's put you in the spot where you don't have the connections. Well, then my reason for speaking is no point. I wouldn't need any of that if I was famous and I had a following.
Question,
I'm saying as an independent artist, as someone who's serious about taking, you want to go far. You may have people who have bought your stuff or support you, but you don't have a way to put your stuff into a gallery, a store, music industry. However, what's the genre we talking about? Let's pick one. Are we talking about art? Are we talking about music?
I was talking about music right now.
So let's talk about music. How are you going to get your music into a store?
Well, the first thing would be basically, now that I think about it, I don't need to get my music into a store.
Well, how are you going to get sales?
Streams right now. If I think about it, if I become popular off of what I've been putting on SoundCloud or the mixtapes.
No, but see, you're already saying you gain your popularity. You have to understand, what if there was never popularity for you? How do you get your music to the people who want to hear your music? That's a struggle I've had my entire time making music. I know I make good stuff because I know I make content that resembles Wu-Tang, and it's built off of the traditions that they're from. And on top of that, there's some dope beats and some good raps. If I could get someone who wants to hear it, they'd play it and they'd listen to it and they'd buy it. My problem is I don't know who those people are, where to find them, or ever how to build a fan base if I can't distribute it to them.
You know what I forgot to tell you?
Yeah.
We're on Spotify now.
Me? Or we're on? Yeah, I know. We're on Spotify. Yeah, 36 Chambers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, we're on Spotify, everybody. Check us out. 36 Chamber Podcast. We're on Spotify.
We're on Spotify now.
But yeah, see, even being on Spotify, I can't guarantee I'm going to get listeners that like me or even will come back and want to support me and buy a shirt, buy a CD, buy anything. I can only put it out there as far as where I'm sitting, where I'm at. And I've gone out there, sold it physically. I've sold it on the internet. I've given it away for free. I've done shows. I've reached people directly. And I've even had people told me your music has inspired me to do big things in life.
I understand what you mean. If you bring somebody that already has the industry with them, if you get some, then it makes it a lot easier. I understand that part.
I understand where you're coming from too, because if I had the following, I wouldn't. I support myself already to this day. So the moment where I finally do get that, I wake up and I have 1 million followers type shit, I won't really need a manager unless I find out like I need to focus on what I'm doing. Can you please take me where I need to go? Yeah. So I still technically kind of agree with the manager.
It's because I was listening to a podcast called Flagrant 2, and they were talking about that. Andrew Schultz. And he made a really good point about how, like, dude, you don't need a manager. You don't need an agent. You can do all of those things yourself now with the internet. And, I can't remember all of the points he was making, but he was very convincing. And, but I think he did when he started interviewing in a different episode from the one where they were talking about that. He started interviewing somebody that they brought in. And that guy said that he he did want a
Yeah.
manager, and then he Andrew almost convinced him too that he didn't need him. And
Well, I mean, yeah, you don't need. That's the thing is, as far as needs, no.
yeah.
Want, I think it's necessary if you do want to go far.
and you
'Cause-
know what? They wouldn't be around if
Exactly.
they weren't important or if
Well, like,
they weren't of service.
a struggle I'm having right now is book publishing. I have the Writer's
Okay.
Market, which is what everyone suggests you to check out. I've read through the book. I've looked up multiple publishers. I've submitted my stuff. Quarantine and COVID has messed things up, but people are always looking for new book submissions. However, I can't reach out to them, and I'm waiting on emails, and they're getting emails from a nobody, and they're going to receive that and take a chance. They will do that. However, if you work with a book agent, you don't have to do that. You hire the book agent. They go directly to the publisher that will take your book because they trust them and they know what's sellable. And they're going to be the salesperson for you, and they're going to make you a deal where you can make royalties off your book. And so it depends which direction you want to go. Do you want to try to independently market yourself and then work extremely hard and be proud of yourself at the end of the day you made all the money? Or do you want to take a different route, hire somebody and get the same way, same popularity? It just depends, you know, and either way could flip-flop. You could never be successful with the agent, or you could be extremely successful overnight. And I don't know, that's where I'm at, and it's tough to make the decisions of, do I do it myself or do I hire somebody real quick, you know, because I also want to take care of my daughter, and I also have a day job, and I also teach Kung Fu, so it's really tough, and maybe that has a lot to do with it. If you ain't doing nothing but sitting at home and, you know, making your artwork and jacking off all day, then yes, go and freaking go do it yourself. You have nothing but time and energy. But maybe if you don't have all that effort to put forth, then get a manager.
Yeah, speaking about that, but one thing I was going to say, when you brought up about reaching out to these places or sending your emails to somebody, I've done that before, and one thing that I thought about that would make it easier is not writing them as personally yourself, but maybe writing to them as an organization, you know?
Yeah.
Like even from this, like
I always do. Yeah.
36 Chambers podcast, and we're contacting.
See, that's what's great. Okay, so that's what I did for a long time, right? I still do that to this day, kind of. I represent myself like an entity, not just hey, check out my stuff. Ricky he owns Munchie's Boutique, and he gets a lot of business with a lot of random shops, and he sells his stuff in local places, and he reaches out to a lot of companies. They always reach back to him. He says when he keeps it super casual, as if he would talk to a friend. And I was like, that's interesting, because you would think opposite. He's like, I know, right? So instead of saying, hey, check it out, we're Munchie's Boutique, we want to reach out to you guys, check out our inventory, the blah, 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 however you might market it, or we're a new thriving business with this many followers, blah, blah, blah. He just straight up would be like, hey, what's up? Check you guys out on the internet. You guys look really cool. We want to collaborate. If you like our stuff, hit us back. And it'll just be like, instantly he'll get a response. Okay. And I don't know why. It's kind of like,
because they probably already used to it. They know that he's not that he's not new to it.
Yeah, he sounds casual. He sounds like he's been doing this.
Like
exactly.
He's been doing it.
Yeah, and maybe that's a different approach. Is don't sound like you're this business. Sound like you've been doing it.
Like
how would a business reach out to another business? You know, and it'd probably be on some like, hey, come over for some milk and cookies type shit. Let's talk business. And that's kind of where you think about it like, all right, like that's probably how people really do make business, you know?
I could see that.
Big time.
Could see that. Yeah, wow, okay. Yeah. You know, what, yeah, okay.
Okay. Yeah, we could wrap it up. I don't really have much else to bring up. I just want to make sure everybody checks out Toby Lou, because he's fire as hell, bro. Like, honestly, his music is so tight. And it's just, he doesn't get much credit, and he's super creative. I think he's dope. He's from Chicago.
I wanted to say thank you to subscriber Lamichi for listening to us.
Oh, word up.
She listens to us a lot. And thank you. In Spanish, gracias por escuchar.
That's Spanish.
And yeah, guys, thank you. This is you know, I'm drawing a blank right now. I'll be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie. I'm drawing a blank, but it's okay. We'll pick it back up. Yeah. Okay. Happy holidays, guys.
Happy holidays. This is Gabe.
I'm Alex.
Have a good night.
Peace.
That almighty amazing. That almighty amazing.
Yo, I'm out for throats. I smoke these crews more than I smoke dope. Been stalking rap shows for cash flows, waiting in shadows. Yo, I got them shook by these heavy hooks. They say I need to stay at Bates Motel, well, I'm already booked.
Do you have any back problems or anything?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, currently. I slept wrong on a camping trip.
Yeah.
And my shoulder just is super tight.
I've been chilling with Norman, man, this shit ain't normal. I'm on some other, beating kids in public like a bad mother, man. I got these bodies stocked up, legs in stockings. Got some heads under the bed, some is fresh and some been rotting. I don't sell my soul, no need to bother. The devil sold his soul to me for 50 G's. I beat his ass and robbed him. Some say he's cuckoo and others spooky. They trying to do the right thing, well I ain't Mookie. Nah, no one as bad as me. I'm busting more teeth than cavities. I hold it down like gravity. Nah, hold on. I'm handing ass whippings out like cash the panhandlers. Been lurking in these backgrounds and on point like antlers. And fuck fame, dopeness, that's what I rhyme for. You can find me with 5 cars, I'm still performing dive bars. I'm wicked, yo, fuck around and get spin kicked. I'm known for busting temples, not the ones that burn incense. I'm non-stop and nah, I couldn't be whack if it was my last option. Don't even battle, just offer MC bodies up for auction. I say bars that's way hard and aim far. None of y'all can see me like Ray Charles. Yo, step back before you get a face full of F that. Chillin' on the east side, Gabe thinking back.
That almighty amazing. That almighty amazing. That almighty amazing.